Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to the Nigeria M365 Mentorship Program, as organized by the Nigeria M365 Community, a community of professionals, of IT professionals, of IT learners, IT experts in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. Here we gather together and share everything you want to know concerning Microsoft 365. So it's all about knowledge sharing and capacity building. And this is who we are. And this is the Nigeria M365 4-month intensive Microsoft 365 mentorship program. It's an innovation by the Nigeria M365 community leaders, organizers, mentors, and intended to bring up the next generation of Microsoft 365 professionals. All right, so here we help you kickstart your digital skills journey. The program is totally free. We started in February and we're still ongoing. It's supposed to last 4 months. All right. This is brought to you, like I mentioned before, by the Nigeria M365 community, and we welcome participants from across the globe. In this program, we'll be taking our mentees through the following technologies: the Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot Studio, Microsoft Entra ID, Exchange Online, SharePoint Online that we just concluded the last weekend, Microsoft Teams also concluded, Microsoft Intune. We've also gone through that, and then we'll be going into Microsoft Defender and Microsoft Purview. That's the security and compliance aspects, which we will be commencing today. So if you're here on this call, just count yourself lucky, right? We're going to the very integral part of any technology, security and compliance, right? All right, so we welcome you once again. We're glad to have you here. Before I proceed, I would like to appreciate the mentors, the leaders, all our mentors, the leaders of the community, the organizers of this innovative project, right? They've actually been instrumental towards the success of this program in sharing their time, their energy, their resources, their skills, and their experience, lending a voice into making this program a success that we are all witnessing right now. So I want to say thank you, starting from our leader, founder of the Nigerian M365 community, Madam Olajumoke Toriola, and all the other hosts of leaders, mentors, and organizers. Thank you very much. All right. Before I proceed, I would like to introduce myself and as well as appreciate all the mentees that have been joining this program. You all have been amazing, and I want to say, please, it is okay to give yourself some credit, right? Because you deserve it. So showing up every weekend, joining our sessions, participating, and doing also, it's really been amazing and really motivating and inspiring for us on this end. Thank you all for coming, for joining, for engaging, for actually being a part of the program. Thank you. And here I am. My name is Aishat Oshileye. I'm a passionate digital builder. I am somebody who just loves technology and how and love to help people, individuals, organizations unlock productivity through Microsoft 365 cloud solutions and modern workplace technologies. My expertise spans across Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Azure in technical support, in training, in cloud engineering generally, and also in turning complex systems into simple, usable solutions. Thank you very much. I love community impact. I love helping, impacting, and also mentoring the next crop of technology experts. Thank you very much, everyone. Right. I will proceed to introduce our speaker for this weekend, for today and tomorrow, in the person of Vivian Okpala. She will be starting the Microsoft Security and Compliance sessions this weekend. And here she is. She is a cloud solutions architect with 7+ years of experience in delivering Microsoft Cloud and digital transformation initiatives across multiple industries. Vivian specializes in data security and governance. Is also skilled in identity and endpoint management, in adoption and change management. She also loves helping organizations modernize IT operations. Also, she helps to strengthen the security posture of organizations and also drive sustainable business growth through technology. So here we are. I give you Vivian Okpala, and she will be taking us through the security and compliance fundamentals, introducing us to security and compliance for today and tomorrow. Thank you very much, Vivian. Please, I would like everyone to welcome her with a wonderful applause. Wonderful applause or any emoji of your choice. Please welcome her and appreciate her while I take us through the housekeeping rules. This session will be recorded and will be made available for future viewing. I don't need to tell you to mute your microphones because you're already muted, right? But you can pen down your questions until the Q&A session. And also you can drop them, either you drop them in the chat or you keep them somewhere until when we are in the Q&A session, right? So you can follow us on X at NGM365. All right, I'm not sure if I'm recording anyway, right?
Yes, you're recording.
All right, great. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. Yes, and we have our YouTube channel where we drop all of our resources, all of our videos, all recordings, right? All recordings from this mentorship program, from every kind of other virtual sessions that we've been having under the umbrella of the Nigeria M365 community. We have them all on YouTube. Please, as you watch them, please subscribe to our channel, like our content, share with your friends who might be needing them, because I am sure those contents are really valuable. We also have our LinkedIn page. Please follow us on LinkedIn. Just search the Nigeria M365 Community. I'll be sharing some of these links in the chat area as we progress. And please try to plug in your attendance. I'll be sharing the attendance link as well. Thank you very much, everyone. I give you Vivian Okpala. Please, you have the mic right now.
Thank you, Aisha, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I know that we cannot speak, but yes, good evening or good morning, good afternoon from anywhere. So I'll be sharing my presentation slide. Just let me know when you can see it.
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, so I'm just trying to put up a slideshow. Is it visible?
Yes, the slides are visible.
Okay. So what can you see on the screen? Module 1, right?
Yes,
Just
module 1. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So welcome again. So today I'm going to be taking the introduction to security and compliance. So I'm just going to start from the basic. So for some of us that do not understand or even know what it's all about, I would make sure that I go with the basics as low as possible, so you will understand every single thing. That's my goal, for you to understand what security and compliance is in Microsoft and in general too as well. All right, so module 1 would be describing security and compliance concepts. And this is what it contains. We'll describe shared responsibilities and defense in-depth security models, describe the zero trust model, and also describe the concept of encryption and hashing, and also describe some basic compliance concepts. All right, now let's look at this. Majorly, when we hear security and compliance, some people think it's just one thing. It means one thing in terms when we're talking about Microsoft, you think it means one thing, but you also have to know that there are two different things, but they are going ahead to achieve just one goal. So security and compliance, they will all work together, and it's necessary that you need both. So security is just like the locks. So it protects your information and systems from people that should not see it or change or destroy them. While we say compliance, compliance is the rules and regulation. So you have to do things the right way. So the way the law is in Nigeria, you have to do the same, you have to do it according to the way the law is. And also, there are various, when it comes to compliance, there are various laws that governs different countries. So that is just a basic understanding of what security and compliance is all about. So let me just give a basic or a simple way to remember the difference between both of them. So let's think about your house security. So the locks that you put on your door. So what's the essence of this locks on your door? They stop the wrong people from getting in, correct? Yes. Let me answer myself, but you can answer in the chat box. Okay. So now let's think of compliance as the rule. So the rule says that you must lock the door before you leave. So you understand the concept. So even though security is the lock on your door, which is necessary, the compliance is the rule, because if you don't have the rule, the door will be open. So that is just a basic analogy of security and compliance. All right, so now let's move forward. So now we have 3 layers of rules when it comes to compliance. So the layer 1 is the law. So when we're talking about the law, we're saying that, okay, data protection laws apply regardless of any company or any industry. So an example of a data protection law is the NDPA, which is for Nigeria. I'm sure everybody used to hear about GDPR because that's the most popular one right now. GDPR, which is for the EU. Then for Kenya, we have DPA. South Africa, we have POPIA. So every country have their law that protects everyone. So let me give an example. Let's say in using Europe, because they have a stricter law. So using Europe, there are some organization in Europe that some organization in Europe, when you actually try to access their data, you would not be able to have that let's say that clear access to their data, except you are following the GDPR rule of that country. Why? Is because they make sure that every data in every organization or every identity, that's your username and your password, are being governed by the law, so that there will not be any form of theft. So that's why you see in some cases whereby there are some things that have been happening in different countries, but when it comes to Europe, they can't, it's not even possible for that to happen. And that's because of the GDPR law that governs and protects every data and how customer data have they are currently being handled. So moving forward, we now have your industry. So when it comes to industries, you're saying that these are extra rules. If you're handling any banking, health, payment cards, or maybe government data. So, initially I talked about the law, which is data protection law, on how you can handle customers' data. Then I'm not talking about industries themselves. So different industries also even have their own rules that govern them. So for example, for industries like banking, they actually have some certain rules that you need to apply in terms of protecting the users' payments cards, or maybe personal, they call it PII, that's personal identifiable information in banking sector. So for example, using Nigeria, so CBN guidelines for banks are the PCI DSS for card data. So that's another rule for industries. Then you now have HIPAA, which is the HIPAA for US health. Then you have the ISO 2700, which is for general security. So these are rules that governs industries. So now there's now our company. So we as a company, or if you have a company, or if you decide to have a company, or if you're working for a company, you also have your own policies that is as maybe policies like acceptable use, the things that you'll be utilizing in your organization, email policies, bring your own devices, which is called the BYOD, etc. You have your own data, you have your own rules and regulations. And in various organizations, they have some specific rules that would actually protect. They bring up those rules in order to protect, or in order to make sure that every user's, or let's say, yes, every user in the organization comply to compliance. Let me use that word, comply to compliance. So either ways, let's move forward. Now, let's dive into security. So for security, I don't know if everyone understands this, how will I put it? Everyone understands the software as a service, platform as a service. I don't know if you understand. You can just say by chat. You can just respond via chat. So we have shared, when it comes to shared responsibility model in terms of security, we also have it based on this. So we have shared responsibility model, which also identify which security tasks are being handled by the cloud provider, and which is also handled by you as the customer. So the responsibilities can actually vary on where your workload is hosted. So if maybe you have a customer that says, okay, I want software as a service. What I mean is I want Microsoft 365. So that means Microsoft as a cloud provider, they are the one going to be handling everything security. Or maybe the customer says, I still want my things to be on premises. So that means I do not want any cloud because I don't trust cloud. There are a lot of people that say that I don't trust cloud. I don't want to be in the cloud, all those things. So you're saying that you are on-prem, you're on premises. That means everything is handled physically. Your servers, they will have servers, they will have everything like on-prem. When I mean on-prem, I mean most of the time they get hardware, like physical devices. Yes, physical devices. They don't want to utilize any cloud provider, or they don't want to utilize any cloud at all. So that means you as the on-prem, or the organization as the on-prem users, they are going to be fully responsible for everything that concerns their security. So for on-prem, in major on-prem data center, because you call it their own specific data center because they're managing it, they have the responsibility for everything from the physical security to encrypting data, sensitive data. So if they want to encrypt sensitive data, they still have to be responsible for that. Then you now have the infrastructure as a service. So the infrastructure as a service would then require most management by the cloud customer. So that means you're saying that you're using the cloud provider's computing infrastructure. So you're saying the cloud customer is not responsible for the physical components such as the computers and the network or the physical security of the data center. So that's what you're saying. You're saying that, okay, this is how it is going to work. This is what the customer is going to be responsible for, which is just mostly they're not responsible for any physical component at all. So it's just you coming in and taking care of their environment, their security environment. So majorly when it comes to platform as a service, so platform as a service, you are saying, okay, you're providing an environment for building, testing, and as well deploying software applications. So the major goal for platform as a service is you're saying you are helping, how will I put it? It's just majorly to help maybe people that want to create, maybe they want to create a more like a sandbox. Yes, a sandbox is like a testing interface whereby you want to maybe test a product, or you want to test, you purchase the product and you want to test the product in the cloud. Yeah, something. An example of a platform as a service is Azure, if you've heard about Azure. Yeah, so you're saying that with platform as a service, the cloud provider manages the hardware and the operating system. So like Azure, you know that Azure can provide you with a server. So if you want to implement, maybe you want to have a server in the cloud, on like a physical device, which is the hardware, which is on premises. You want to have a server in the cloud. So you're saying that, okay, the cloud provider is providing you with the hardware. It's also providing you with the operating system. So, you know, on Azure, you can create a Windows system. You can create a server. You can upload different applications on the cloud. Maybe if you want to utilize that instead of the on-prem as well. So that's what platform as a service is talking about. So then you now have the software as a service, which is the general thing that everybody knows, which is the Microsoft 365. And we are saying dynamic CRM, we have etc. So we're saying that the software as a service is hosted and managed by the cloud provider for the customer. So that means the only thing they provide for you is license through a monthly or annual subscriptions and etc. So with software as a service, it just requires the least amount of management by the cloud customer. So the cloud customer is responsible for creating creating policies. So they have everything in place. It's just for you to create them and know how you want it to govern your organization. So I know some of you will be asking, okay, how does this matter in this case? But the reason why I'm talking about this is in a situation whereby you are you definitely be in a situation whereby most customers might not be using software as a service or platform as a service. Some customers might be using infrastructure as a service, or even on-prem data centers. And you have to know how how security comes in play, how you would actually come in to manage their security and compliance estate. So moving forward. All right, so now we're now talking about defense in depth. So as like the word says, defense in depth. So that means you're putting in more defense. So it's not just a one layer defense. You're putting in more layer of defense when it comes to security. So majorly now, I'm just talking majorly on security and how or what are the layered approach to security. so that you understand. I'm just, like I said, I'm just going into the basics so that you understand types of security and different types of layers. So when it comes to defense in depth, well, I would say when I saw this slide, I was like, this is like a fancy name. But it's what it talks about is just it says you don't rely on just one wall to keep the bad guys out. You're saying you're building many walls so that if one fails, the next one stops them. So you can't say you only have one security layer, and when the bad guys come in, there is no other one, there's no other layer, the bad guys will enter finish. So it's best you have different layers of security when you want to implement security in an environment. So let me give you the easiest, let's start from the I wanted to start, okay, let's start from the physical security. So the physical security, I would use the analogy, the outmost wall. So it's this can actually be like the actual building. So data centers have gates, guides, biometric scanners, so that not just anyone can just walk into the data center because they want to just walk into the data center. Yeah, so there have to be physical security in place. So physical security, based on the slides, is limiting access to a data center to only authorized personnel. So if you have been to a place where they have data centers, like not said data center, they have a, what it is to call it again, a server room. Yes, they have a server room. So that means maybe that organization is a bank and they have a server room. You will notice that before you can even access that server room, you need to maybe be with a badge. You need to be with something that at least you'll be able to use to enter. In most cases, like if you've gone to top organizations where they don't even take all those things for granted, before you can actually enter the data room or the server room, you have to have the necessary security. So you can't just barge into it. So that's an example of a physical security. So in most cases, you can either have maybe physical guards, or you can have biometric scanners, or you can have your card scanners, and etc. So that's an example of physical security. Then we now have the identity and access security. So with the identity and access security, you're saying, okay, you're controlling access to infrastructure and also change control. That means you're saying who is allowed to log in, who should log in. You cannot just say, okay, you just open a portal and you don't have any username and password and you want to log in. So that's identity and access security. So that means you're giving each user in an organization, you're giving username. Once a user resumes or is onboarded to the environment, you're giving, okay, this is your username, or this is your password. So that is identity and access security. Then what comes in place is now MFA. So this is now the layer that has most of the important one in the modern security. So you're saying that once you have your username and password, that is not all. You must have MFA before you can actually access. So something that I see a lot of people in this age and time go through is that they take MFA for granted. I mean, even with your bank app, as low as your bank app, what am I saying low? Sorry. I mean, as high as your bank app should have MFA. I don't think there is any bank that will not allow you to have at least double MFA or maybe biometric for you to sign, because biometric is even more safer than using passwords. Or even as people's Gmail. I mean, a lot of people are taking Gmail for granted right now. You have your personal Gmail and you don't put on MFA. And you think, okay, if an attacker, or think about it, if an attacker gain access to your Gmail, don't you think they'll be able to use that Gmail to access a lot of things that you own, even to the extent of accessing maybe something very important to you? So that is what MFA comes in as a layer of security, because MFA gives you that two-factor authentication. So remember, initially I said when talking about defense in depth. It means just having multiple layer, not just one layer. So in terms of identity and access, you're saying it's just username and password. Then that's a problem, because once there's no extra layer, if a bad guy enters, that's all. It just gains access and gain everything. And in some cases, some attackers are very ruthless. They delete your account, they block you, they change everything, they change your secondary email, they change, and you yourself, you'll be shocked. It even happens to Instagram accounts where an attacker steals an account. That's because there's no layer of security. So moving forward, we have perimeter security. So it's protection against attacks coming from the internet, like the distributed denial of service. That's to filter any form of large-scale attacks before they can cause a disruption for users. So we're talking about when attackers flood your system with so much fake traffic, it crashes. So with some certain tools that Microsoft, well, definitely Microsoft always have a tool to solve most of this thing. It's actually a protection seat at its layer. So it's a security layer as well. So to prevent any form of fake traffic that would make your system crash, because most times when attackers want to attack, they use different method. And when they flood your system with a lot of fake traffic and the rest, if there is no proper tool in place, they will be able to attack your systems. Another one is network security. So once an attacker is past the perimeter, they can move freely inside. So network security is you having locked doors between rooms. So just like how you have, maybe you have a room that is together, but those doors are locked. You get, so most those doors are locked, and there's no another entrance. Yes. So with network security, it limits any form of communication between resources, using segmentation and also access controls. So network security can be your firewall. Moving forward, sorry. All right, so moving forward, we have the compute layer security. So just trying to rush up the slide. So the compute layer, the security is protecting your servers and your virtual machines, closing unused ports, patching the operating system, making sure they are up to date. So not leaving your windows open, more like securing access to virtual machines, so that nobody, maybe like, for example, you create a virtual machine, you now open all the ports, like you expose all the ports in your virtual machine, and you know that once an attacker wants to come, they come in straight. They don't even need any extra things to enter. They just can enter. So we then have the application layer security, which ensures that your application is secure and free from any form of security vulnerabilities. So you're making sure that the apps themselves are written securely, there's no bugs that attacker can exploit. There's no issues with those applications. Something that can easily be, once those applications have a lot of vulnerability. So a vulnerability can be updates. So maybe, for example, your app on your computer, or even your mobile phone is telling you update. You don't want to answer. You don't want to answer. That's a vulnerability, and that is what attackers use to gain access to your phones or gain access to your computers, because you've not updated it. You've not updated it to the latest secure control for the application. You're still using the old updates. Attackers will be able to get in easily because there's a vulnerability. It's already exposed. The application controllers, they've provided you with a solution. They no longer look at that side again. It's just like they are done with the old part. They are telling you upgrade to new one and you don't want to answer. That's another form of issues. Then last but not least, we have the data layer security, which control access to business and customer data and use encryption to protect data, which falls under governance as well. So moving forward. No, so I know everyone must have heard about confidentiality, integrity, availability. This is like a popular thing that everyone knows about. So it's the CIA, which is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So these are the goals of a cybersecurity strategy. So with confidentiality, you're making sure that there is a need to keep confidential sensitive data such as your customers' information, passwords, or financial data. So you can make sure that those data are encrypted. So it makes it confidential. That means it's not going to, let me use using the hospital terms. Let me use the hospital terms. It's going to be more explainable. So for example, you go visit a doctor and you tell them what is wrong. You know that doctor cannot, maybe if your friend comes in and tell the doctor, oh, please, what is wrong with my friend? You know they cannot do that. Why? Because of confidentiality. So that is part of a cybersecurity strategy. So you are confident, you are not exposing sensitive data to people. You're not exposing sensitive data to external people or people that are not supposed to have access to it. So you're not exposing their passwords, you're not exposing financial data. So that's what confidentiality comes in. That's where confidentiality comes in, and it's one of the topmost cybersecurity strategy. Then you have the integrity, which refers to keeping data or messages correct. So when you send an email message, you want to be sure that the one person that received is the same person as the message you sent. So making sure that data or messages haven't been tampered with. So you're saying when you're sending when a message is being sent, or when you're sending an email, you want to make sure that that person that received is the same as the message you sent. So when you store data in a database, you want to be sure that the data you retrieved is the same as the data you stored. So that means you're saying that whatever you put or whatever you store. Let's say, for example, I know you guys have done SharePoint. I create a document and I store that document in my SharePoint. I'm saying that when I come back to it, I should make sure that that same thing is the same thing as my personal SharePoint or as my personal OneDrive. So that means nobody should tamper with it. That's integrity. So this CIA as something that every solution should have. So when I mean every solution, I'm saying Microsoft 365 has CIA, which is part of which is the cybersecurity strategy. So that's why I mentioned confidentiality, integrity. So that means if, for example, you are creating a document on SharePoint, you are coming back to see that same document without it being tampered with by anybody, Microsoft. You get so. Now, availability, which refers to making data available to those who need it. So it's very, very important to the to various organizations to keep customer data secure, so that when maybe in situations where it needs to be available, it needs to be available when it's needed. So that's what Microsoft. So I'm just giving you using Microsoft because definitely that's what we're all about, Microsoft. So Microsoft has this CIA strategy in place for their SaaS solution and the rest of it. So moving forward. So now we're talking about encryption. So encryption is the process of making sure that the data is unreadable and unusable to unauthorized viewers. So what am I saying? I'm saying that, let's say, for example, I'm sending an email to Aishat and I encrypt that data. And I specify in that email that is only Aishat that I'm sending that email to. That means it's only Aishat that would receive that data and be able to read it. So other people might receive that data if Aisha decides to forward it, but they will not be able to read it. Why? Because there is a form of encryption. So you're saying it's a process of making data unreadable and unusable to unauthorized viewers. So I did not authorize anybody that Aisha is trying to forward the email to read it. I only authorize Aisha. So that means it's only Aisha that will be able to read it and nobody else. So that is what encryption is all about. So there are two top level types of encryption. There's symmetric and there's asymmetric. So symmetric encryption uses the same key to encrypt and decrypt the data, while the asymmetric, so all these things are going on in the background. Don't think it's something that you have to click, okay, symmetric. I want symmetric, I want asymmetric. No, these are happening in the background. So asymmetric encryption, you have to use public key and private key here. So either key can encrypt data, but single key can't be used to decrypt encrypted data. So you have to use a public key and a private key in order to encrypt that data. So most of the time, this is available in let's say on Azure in most cases. So asymmetric is used for things like transport layers, that's TLS. That's if you've heard of TLS, such as the HTTPS protocol and also data signing encryption, which helps to protect data at rest and in transit. So most of the time, like I said, in rare cases, no, not rare cases, I would say rare cases because it happens, you can be, and like I said, most of these things it's not something you can see with your eyes. It's something that just happens in the background as well. So moving forward, I'm trying to run it. Okay. So we now talk about the zero trust model. Very important. So zero trust model is something that if you are a follower of Microsoft, you will be seeing it everywhere. Zero trust, Microsoft zero trust, security zero trust. And you'll be wondering, okay, what is Microsoft talking about zero trust? Like, I don't understand. What does it mean? So now I'm going to explain to you what zero trust is all about. So zero trust is saying that, okay, let's say zero trust assumes everything is on an open and untrusted network. So it doesn't trust anything at all. It doesn't trust anything. So it's saying even resources behind the firewalls of the corporate network. So the zero trust model operates on the principle of trust no one, verify everything. So using that simple analogy, trust no one, verify anything. So when I'm just going to give you various analogies so that you would understand. So why Microsoft uses that zero trust model is because it's saying that I don't want a situation whereby when a user signs in, you shouldn't just trust it like that it is the user that is signing. There should be another method that the user needs to sign in. That's why you have what we call Windows Hello, whereby a user would sign in with either what they have, what they know, and what they have, what they know, and something else. What they have, what they know, and what they there are three methods. So who they are. Yes, thank you. So there are three: what they have, what they know, and who they are. So what they have is mostly their, maybe if they have security keys, FIDO keys, and the rest of it, or maybe mobile devices, then what authenticator app and the rest. Then what you are can be your eyes, your iris, your fingerprints, then what they know. Yeah, everything's clashing in my head. So either way, so yeah. So when you have this zero trust model operates on the principle of trust no one and verify everything. When a user is signing in, they need to have either what they have, or they need to have something that would verify that, okay, this is a user that is signing in, not anybody else. So with this, attackers would not have, or would they would not have the ability to bypass easily it will be very difficult. Because in just, okay, let's use a scenario whereby someone is trying, maybe I'm trying to sign into my account, and I type in my username and my password and just sign it like that. You definitely, if an attacker, well, in this era, an attacker can just get a username and password very, very easily. So once that happens, I mean, the attacker will gain access. But once there is another layer of security, whereby you have to, maybe once you sign in, you need to still have to authenticate using MFA. You have to authenticate using your mobile devices or your biometrics or your fingerprints in most cases. Then it will be very hard for the attacker to bypass. So that's the general note. So moving forward, so there are 6 zero trust guiding principles: verify explicitly, least privilege access, and assume breach. So yeah, I talked about verify explicitly. You are verifying that before someone is able to sign in, you have to be sure that is that person. Then least privilege access, you're saying no, it's you cannot give a high privilege to someone. I mean, you cannot give access to maybe a user. You can't give full access to a user. For example, you can't give, in Microsoft, you can't give global admin access just like that. You need to have least privilege. Maybe, for example, if this person is to manage this, you have to give them only this particular role. As low as if maybe they have to create a username and password. We're going to do a demo on roles. If you want to give them a role for username and password, they have to use this particular role for this alone. If they want to maybe utilize, you don't want to be able to control some certain things, they must have least privilege access. Then another one is, which I talked about, the assume breach. So you're saying that whatever you are doing, or whatever configurations you're doing in your organization, you have to assume that there is a breach. So you have to make sure that all the policy aligns to making sure that if there is any breach, it would act immediately. So that means you're assuming that there's a breach. So when you're assuming that breach, you're configuring a policy to prevent that breach from actually being, or actually coming in play, something like that. So you're assuming breach. So that is another guiding principles for zero trust. So we have the 6 foundational pillars. We have the identities. Identities can be users, can be devices, can be services. So with identities, you have to verify all identities with strong authentication, and you have devices. So with devices, you're creating a large attack surface as data flow. So that means you're making it a very, very how would I use the word let me use the word important. They are saying that it is very important to actually get visibility into all the devices accessing the network. So you have to put in place the controls that would actually make sure that whatever device that is accessing the network are authorized devices. So that's why you see some organizations saying that, oh, you have to use corporate devices to access their network. Or if an organization is saying, oh, bring your own devices, there's also a control in place to prevent unauthorized access to, in some cases where maybe you want to try to maybe you're trying to access the company the organizational data, and maybe you're trying to do some things you're not supposed to do. There would also be a control to prevent you from that. So that is you assuming breach. So in cases where maybe an attacker decides to sign in using a device that is not maybe a BYOD device, and still want to sign into, maybe they had access to a user device, a user identity, and they want to sign in. So if you have some controls in place, to prevent that system from actually accessing the environment. So you have applications which include being able to discover shadow IT, so the ability to control access to applications and actually monitor them in real time. So you're saying that when users are accessing some certain applications, you know, there are some organizations that you cannot access Facebook in their network. I don't know how many of us are in that organization or have been in that organization whereby there are some things you cannot access on your network. You cannot access Facebook. You cannot access Instagram. Social media, in fact, YouTube, etc. You cannot access it. So that is the controls they are putting in place to assume breach. So imagine an attacker coming in that form. So because they've assumed breach and put some controls in place to prevent that from happening, that is the reason why attackers cannot come in place. Then you have data. Have I talked about identity devices here? You have network. So for network, you are encrypting all your you're encrypting all communications, you're limiting any form of access by policies, and also you're putting any form of data segmentation. Then infrastructure, you're employing real-time threat detection. So you're detecting any threats immediately, blocking and flagging risks, and also employ list privilege access. So for data, you're making sure that all data are classified, labeled, and encrypted wherever it lives or travels. Now, moving forward. So hashing, what is hashing? So hashing is also a part of a security strategy. So hashing is similar to encryption, but it has one big and very important difference. So if you look at the diagram very well, it's more like it's depicts what hashing is all about. It's very, very, very simple and straightforward. So you see there are texts, original text. So this is what's maybe for example, the original text can be passwords or something. And it goes through the hashing algorithm. And when it comes out with fixed length string of characters. So the string is called the hash value. Or let me use that word. So the string is always called, or will I say is called the hash value. So let's say, for example, this is your password. Sorry, let me get my pointer. All right, so let's say this is your password. You wrote your password here. So this is the hashing algorithm that is working here. So once it goes through this hashing algorithm, it changed that password to fixed length string of characters. So imagine a attacker wanting to attack a system that has these algorithms. What do you think will happen? Definitely the attacker would not even know what, I'm like, what is this? I mean, okay, put a normal password and there's a hashing algorithm in place, and literally you can't see you can't all understand everything. So I'll use an analogy for this. So let's use AD Connect and Microsoft 365. So, you know, some organizations still stay on premises, maybe because they have their devices joined to the domain, and they still want to, they want their identities to be synced to Microsoft 365. I know you might get confused, but I'm just using this analogy. I'm going to go straight to the point. So let's say, for example, they want to, maybe they were on premises. So remember what I said about on premises, they are on their infrastructure, they have servers, physical servers, and they have an AD, they have an Active Directory where they've created identities. So remember, it is on premises, and they want to use Microsoft 365. So there should be a form of synchronization. And imagine in that scenario whereby the AD has to synchronize with Office 365. You know that if the passwords are going through, or they are flowing through Microsoft 365, just like that, as plain text, it will be easier for the attacker to come in and attack, because once they see the username, once it's syncing and there's the open username of a user, they'll see the password and just collect it. Simple. But with this hashing, what AD Connect does is, because AD Connect is going to be in the middle. So let's say this is the AD, this is the AD Connect. and this is Microsoft 365. So what it does is, so AD has normal username and password. Then the AD connects, hashes the password of the user when it's synchronizing. And when it synchronizes to Office 365, it comes in during the hashing algorithm, it changes it to this as usual. And once it enters, once it's syncing to Office 365, that's how the password is. So it's actually hashing the password and preventing it from being in plain text so that hackers cannot gain unauthorized access. So moving forward, so in general, this is, I don't know if you can see my screen. Okay, yes. Why can't I see this? Okay, sorry. All right, so now we're talking about what we call, so this is mostly talking about compliance. So it's called governance, compliance, and risk. So this is more like a compliance. I'll say yes, having all of this in place is more like a compliance concept, but I'm not going to go in depth. I'll do that tomorrow. So today is just all about security, but just like to give a run through. So GRC help organizations reduce risks and improve compliance effectively. So governance is the rules, practice, it is the system of rules, practice, and also processes. So an organization uses it to direct and control its activities. So for example, an organization is like what they want, they say, okay, the rules and regulations, the rules and processes that would have to define the who, what, and when users are can access corporate resources. So they're saying that before you can actually access a resource, or before you can actually assess an application, there should be a process. So that's governance. Then for risk management is identifying or assessing and responding to threats or events that can actually impact the company or customer objectives. Sorry, I'm rushing this on. Then compliance, when initially I talked about compliance, where I said the country or the region, state or federal laws, or even multinational regulations that an organization must follow. So in most cases, there's, like I said, in some countries, it's very compulsory. But like I said, EU is like one of the toppest. You must follow the rules, the compliance rules. Then also for Nigeria too as well, which is the NPA, you must also follow it for your organization as well. So there I know someone might be asking in their head, okay, so how do I get all these rules and regulations? How will I be able to do all of this in my Microsoft 365? Well, if you go to Microsoft 365 website, you will see most of each country's rules, and it will give you like a comprehensive configurations that you need to do on your tenant in order to abide to Nigeria rules, which is the NPA. Same as EU, it will give you those configurations, the law, the various things that you need to abide to in order to follow through with the law and the rules. All right, so going over to module 2. Okay, so I've taken 1 hour. I'll just take about 20 minutes and just finish up, so we can just do it. We can do demos or even lesser. All right, so now let's talk about common threats. So this is where I want everyone to understand and know, because these are more like the things that you would need to understand in terms of security. I mean, if you don't understand what phishing is, I mean, what else are you understanding? Okay, so the 5 tricks attackers use phishing, smishing, vishing, malware, and ransomware, weak passwords, and social engineering. So phishing, you're saying that they are sending fake emails, pretending to be someone you trust, but most common attacks are phishing. Yes. So fake emails pretend to be your bank, your boss, or Microsoft. So that's phishing. For example, there's this organization that we had, they had a phishing attack. So what the attacker did was to send credit card, I think, send an email. So the thing is, they would appear, what they do is they will send maybe a link to the user just to steal their identity first. That's the first step, because they need to steal someone's identity in the organization before they launch the phishing attack. So or they'll launch the attack, launch the attack. So what they do is they send you a phishing link. So that phishing link is, they'll say, okay, maybe, for example, there's one that we used, I think we used for our organization. So what we did was we sent to everyone that, oh, there's going to be an increase in salary. For you to be among those that would want to get this increase, please, I think what we said was, please click on this form. If you see the amount of people that clicked on it, I mean, it seems as if everybody was looking for increase in salary. Every single person clicked on that link. And immediately they clicked on the link, because it was a phishing campaign that we launched. From the back end, we as the IT team, we are looking, okay, we're trying to see who are the people clicking. Now we saw that almost 90% clicked on it. And the funny thing is that if you look at that email, if you closely look at the email, you see that, number one, the email address was not it. The email address was just was not even like looking like an email address, but nobody wanted to look at it. They were mostly interested in salary increase, which was very funny. I think this was like years back, like 5-6 years ago. So if people fall for that, like if you click on the link and you then start filling out your form, because that's what attackers do. They would give you that link, you then fill up. Sometimes the when you click on the link, it looks like you're going into Microsoft's website, and you see everywhere, everyone looks like, this is Microsoft's real website. You put in your username and password, that's all. The attacker just gain access. Thieves they will steal your credential. Once they steal your credential, immediately they sign into your account, act as if it is you. And once they send emails start sending emails to customers saying, oh, you have to pay for this, send this to this account, all those things. So that's what phishing is all about. Now let's go over to smishing and phishing. So the same trick by SMS and phone call. Well, we all know here, for those of us that have experienced, because we have experienced it too in Nigeria, whereby someone, they will send you SMS, they say you've won 20 million, come to so and so, or click on this link, or call this person, and the rest, to claim your prize. And you call the person say you have to pay 20,000 naira to receive your 20 million. In this country, okay. So that is smishing and also phishing. So they use the same trick by SMS or phone call. And phone call, the most terrifying thing in terms of phone call is they can actually do, like, literally call you and start telling you, oh, I think I experienced one day whereby the person called me and started saying, oh, you've forgotten me. And I'm like, okay, who are you? That's it, guess. So the person will be like, guess, 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 guess. And if you're not smart enough and you now call one of your friends' name, you'll not be like, oh, you don't be like, yes, now, how far? Yeah, exactly. That is how they operate. Because if they don't say their name, definitely they want you to guess somebody, so that when you guess that person, they will not agree, oh, yes, it is me. That is phishing. So malware and ransomware. So for malware and ransomware, bad software that sneaks in via attachment. So malware can be maybe an attachment that is sent, maybe they send you an attachment and you went to go and open and click on it, or more, and you opened it on your laptop. Or let's say in most cases, they mostly send it to big maybe organizations that do have servers, like on-premises infrastructure, where they can easily just encrypt everything. Once they just gain access to the server, they encrypt it and start asking you for money, that you must pay a certain amount for them to release your data. Then it's another one is weak password. Some of us, we put in Chidiogo 1 2 3 4 5. Vivian 12345, Aishat 12345 as password. So once you are doing that, and you keep reusing it, in some cases, I can remember seeing that in a customer's case whereby he was using the same password for everything. And I mean, bank app to the extent, because we had a chit chat with the customer, and I was like, use your same password for bank app. I mean, how can you be that determined? That's the word. How can you be that determined to be exposed? Because I don't know what else to say apart from that. So social engineering, so manipulating you with urgency, fear, authority. You see when they are sending maybe a phishing email, they said, I am the CEO, do it now. I said, do it now, now. All those things, you know that the CEO, at least if it's something urgent, they're supposed to send you a message now, or maybe even call you and say it's urgent, not telling you by email, you must do it now. If you don't do it, you are sacked. You know that something is wrong. So how to identify phishing, we'll say the red flags. Like I said, wrong sender address. So you can see, if you look at this thing, you say, this is real Microsoft account, but I want you to look in between S and FT. You see that there's a 0. So they changed that O to 0 because they know that everybody, if they see, they'll be like, okay, this is support@microsoft.com. But if you look at it very well, if you look at close, that's what I said people don't really look at. For me right now, I've been so alert that if I see an email that does not come from, in fact, like literally, I check almost all my emails. Like I said, almost, I didn't say everything. I said almost all my emails for emails, like to make sure that they are coming from the person in some situations. And in some cases, yes, they can actually gain access to that person's, look at the emails to know what it's all about before I actually contemplate on that one. So you see that this is not the same as Microsoft.com, but they would use a wrong sender. So another one is urgent or scary tone. So you said your account will close in 24 hours, you must click on it. I think there was one time Instagram, I think what are they calling it? Attackers, they were using Instagram, this thing, banners to send people emails on Gmail. Yes, I remember then because I know that I had some couple of people that fell for it and their accounts were taken. They will send an email, your accounts will be closed in 24 hours, or you need to reset your password, something like that. As long as you know that, because there's no application or anything that can tell you to reset your password for what? I mean, when you don't need the reset, you didn't initiate the reset. So why is someone telling you to reset your password? So you have to look at it very well. Then unexpected links or files. Then generic greeting, spelling and grammar. So forget spelling and grammar right now because AI has made everything very seamless. Someone can just go to AI and just say, write me an email, and it will give you a perfect sweet email that you won't even look at spelling. And so spelling and grammar is not really, except if the person is not smart though. But if the person is smart, spelling and grammar is not a problem. Then ask for money or secret. So we start asking you for money, no, is a red flag. So you spot the difference. This is a phishing email, this is a legitimate email. So phishing email, you can see the email, urgent, your account will be closed. Dear customer, we have detected unusual activity in your account. You must verify your password immediately or your access will be terminated. Click to verify. Know that this is a phishing email. Then you see for legit email, new security, blah, 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 blah. If this was you, no action is required. If this wasn't you, sign in and review your security info. And you can see here in Microsoft, there was no link for you to sign in. It just said sign in. So you know where to sign in from to review or to check. All right. So I think I will stop here because I think most of what I'm going through is still the same thing that I mentioned, something, a password pin or answer to a security question, something you have, like I talked about, a device only you carry, a phone, a security token, a smart card, authenticator app, etc. There's something you are, which is the fingerprint, face ID, or voice. So here, now, I think I've been talking a lot. Okay, so I would now move over to demo. So let's use this time we have to do some real work. So let me know if you can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen though. So I'll know that you guys are not sleeping. Thank you. All right, so now let's go into the, let's get our, how do you say it again? Let's get our hands dirty. All right, so I mentioned initially that we're going to be looking at roles. So roles is one of the topmost thing that protects, that gives least privilege access. So if you're assigning roles, so the good thing about this is that Microsoft made sure that everything that you need to do on the admin center must have a role. So that if someone comes to say, oh, I want to just make some changes on Exchange, they have a role. You don't need to give them the global admin. So the global admin is the highest role when it comes to managing the Microsoft 365 tenants. So if peradventure someone in your organization wants to manage something specific, you have to give them the least privilege role. So there are different ways. There are two ways to do it. Either using the PIM, what we call the Privilege Identity Management, or you can just simply use the role assignment. So with the role assignment, you're giving that role permanently, but with the PIM, you're giving them that role based on timeline. So maybe you have a contractor that needs a specific role in the organization and they will be needing it for maybe 2 months. So with PIM, you can assign the role for 2 months, but they still need to authenticate. They need to still activate the role before they can access it. So I'll just explain both so you can understand this. So with role assignments, let's say, for example, I want to give someone, I want to assign an admin to this role. So let's say I want to assign an admin to this role. I want somebody in my organization to be assigned Exchange administrator. All I need to do is just to go to the role and add users and add whoever I want to assign it to. So this is assignment. So this person can have this role for a lifetime. That is role assignments. So with PIM, that's Privilege Identity Management. You are giving that person the role based on, I just want you to access it. So this PIM is found in Identity, under Identity Admin Center. So once you click on it, it takes you to the Microsoft Entra. So under the ID governance, this is where you get to the Privilege Identity Management. And once you get to see the Privilege Identity Management, so this is where you then assign the role. So let's assign one role. So I want to give access to a contractor that came to my organization 2 months, but I still want them to activate the role before they can assign, they can access that role. So I go over here, I then add assignments. So what role do I want to give? Initially it was Exchange. So let's work with Exchange. So remember, role assignments was just assigning. This is PIM. So I'm going to add the person that I want to assign. So there are two types, eligible and active. So eligible means this person is eligible for the role. You can reactivate it when they need a role. Then active means this person is going to have this role assigned automatically. That means it's just going to be like role assignment, but it's going to be in a specific, you can assign it to maybe if you want it to be assigned, let's say today, and the assignments day should end tomorrow. Let me use tomorrow. You add your justification. So this for active. So let's use eligible. So eligible to, you can specify how long you want this person to be eligible for this. So I want 2027. Okay. Eligible. Then assign. So you can see here under eligible, you see that this person is eligible for exchange administrator, and a start time is now. The end time is November. So you can actually extend or you cannot extend. So this means that if, let's say, for example, I come to, let me add this admin so it will be better to explain. Let me add security. And add organization. Let's just use this one. So I'm going to make it eligible. I don't want it to be permanent. I'm just going to give it someone muted me. Hello? Aishat, are you there?
Hi, Vivian. I don't think anybody has the power to mute you from here. Probably pressed something on your computer, or it was probably a mistake from somewhere. It happened to me
Okay.
something just yesterday. I got muted
Okay.
for no reason.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I don't know where everyone heard me. I don't know what was the last thing you heard from me, so I can just continue.
Just go like 2 steps backwards.
Okay. All right, so let me go back here. Okay, so I think what I did was I gave myself an assignment. Yes, assignment, MOD. So I want to check, I assigned a role. Muted again. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I went to check my roles and I have to activate it. So I have to put a justification before activating it. In some organizations, once I click the activate button, somebody has to approve it before I can use it. But in this case, I just want to activate. I didn't put that flaw in place, so I'm just going to activate it. So immediately I activate it, I'll be assigned that role that I want to use. So I'm just giving an example of you giving privilege identity management, that's PIM roles to users, instead of just assigning roles just like this to your users. So with this, you're just giving them role assignments and it cannot be changed. With PIM, you can control it. That's least privilege access. So we have different type of roles. You can, I think I will share this so everyone can understand the types of roles we have. All right, so you can go through the types of roles, what each roles covers for roles. So that's all about least privilege and roles. Then let's move over to Defender. I don't know if everyone can see my screen. I don't know what's wrong with my screen. Please, you can give thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, there's a question. Is there any possibility to change the role which you assign someone using role assignment, as if the person leaves the organization and you don't want to have access to pay? Yes, of course you can. You can change role. You can just remove the role that was currently there and reassign, or remove it completely. I mean, the role is free for everyone. So if maybe you have specific users you want to assign roles to, and or maybe they've left the organization, you can just remove the role and reassign it to the person you want to reassign it to. Yes. Okay, so now let's go over to Defender. So I'm just going to take the basics in Defender so that tomorrow we can cover a little bit, then move to compliance. All right, so for our security, we have Microsoft keeps changing everything. This is more like, today I opened this and I saw that it was actually different. But either ways, you need to understand some certain things, or less Microsoft will just confuse you. Anyway, so we have different assets. You know, initially when I explained, I talked about devices, identities, applications, cloud, AI agents. So AI agent is something new that Microsoft has added. So these are assets when it comes to the Microsoft Defender. So Microsoft Defender shows up all the assets that you have under these assets. So let's say, for example, I had a device, because I don't have one. So I had a device. Maybe by tomorrow I'll try to add one. So if under these devices, you will be able to see all your Windows assets. So if you have Windows, if you have servers, not just Windows, servers, Linux servers, Mac servers, well, as long as those devices are onboarded to your Defender, you would have control and you have everything here. Then you have identities. Identities, I know I spoke about identities. And what are identities? Identities are, an example of identities are your usernames. So if peradventure you created usernames, you have service accounts. Like for example, this is one username that is in my environment. So I'm clicking on identities, it's going to show up this identity. So with it, it gives details. You see what I'm saying? It gives, when was the last time this person changed password? Is MFA enabled for this user? So this is a security dashboard for a reason. So it gives me that details of what is going on this user account. If I add a device, you'll see same. So it shows, okay, Is there any insider risk severity? Is there any risk score? Well, let me try and see if we can find one for an account I use very often. Let me use MOD, which is administrator. So you can see there's something here. So one alert over one incident. So you can see last password changed. Is enable MFA enabled. I disabled the MFA. I disabled the one MFA, but the other MFA is enabled. So you can have, if you want to assign, either ways, let me not confuse everyone. I'll go back to MFA later on. So you see the MFA that is available. I have a Microsoft Authenticator app. Then you can see, is there any user threats? Nope, no user threats. Last sin, first sin. Is there any lateral movements? So is there any lateral movements parts? So if there are lateral movements, maybe an attacker trying to gain access, it will showcase here. Then also shows everything that needs to be for this account that you need as a security admin. So let's move over to incidents and alerts, because we can see there's one incident. Let me see if it will show up here. Okay, it's not showing up. All right, so incidents and alerts means that if maybe there was an incident on my account, maybe an attacker is trying to penetrate into my account, it will show up here showing that there is an incident. That is to show up what exactly is going on. I wish this was actually giving that. So it to show up what was actually going on, and if there was any alerts that you put in place as well, to show it up here. So another thing is observed in organization. So for this, it's showing up how many accounts my global admin is linked to. So it's showing how many accounts or how many account sets that my global admin is linked to at this part. Then account 2, there's no device because I don't have any device configured with that account. Then risk score, if there is any, maybe if my account has a risk score, it will show up here showing the risk summary and why this exactly is, or why exactly this account has a risk score, and also remediations too as well. So that means it gives you what's the step-to-step on how to remediate it. Then also timelines. So timeline means it's showing all of those activity here so as well. Then you have security recommendation. So if you look at this here, it says, even me as a global admin, I still need a rule. You are not authorized to view this data. Your current load does not include the required permissions. So me as a global admin, I still need some security rules to actually add to my global admin to be able to view some certain things. Or if I don't want to, if maybe I'm not a global admin, I just need some security rule in order to be able to access the security permissions. Then policies. Yeah, so we have policies here. Yeah, so if there was any policy that is, because this tenant is it's a naked tenant, so there's nothing being done specifically on the Defender portal. So that's why everything seems like there's nothing here. So if there are policies, you show down each policies that have been put in place for this account. I'm trying to check this account that is showing something so that I can just showcase that instead. Okay, let's use this account. Still not showing anything. Okay. Let me see, risk score, timeline, policies. Okay. All right. So moving forward, critical level very high. Okay, so I think I'll try and see if for next session I'll be able to at least do some things on one account so we can see everything in 3D. All right, so moving forward with applications too as well. So for applications, so if you have, let's use an instance whereby you would want to, maybe you have other applications that your organization use. So apart from Microsoft 365, maybe you tend to work for an organization that is not just of Microsoft 365 they utilize in their environment, they also utilize other applications. So this is where you add, if those applications are added, this is where you manage them. So you manage their risk score, you manage their security risk factor, you manage their compliance risk factor. So an example can be if those applications are, let's see, let me use one of the popular one. There's Salesforce here. Salesforce, let's say you have Salesforce, so you can manage those applications under here. So this is just part of the assets. Right. So let me move forward to this here. It's for AD. But that's a direction. Okay, so now let's move over to email and collaboration. So, I mentioned malware, phishing, and the rest of it. So we have a solution that helps to prevent malware, impersonation, phishing, spam, and other threats detections. So starting with this, so we have what we call the investigations. So for the investigation, what it does is in a situation whereby there is maybe there was a threat that was sent to a user. So with this investigation, you'll be able to get different level of you'll be able to get different levels of threats. So for example, if maybe there was a URL, zapped URL, if there was a user reported messages, if there was a manual if you want to do a manual investigation, or if there was a user compromise, you can actually use this to get or investigate this dashboard. I'm trying to clear filters to see if there's anything we can see here. Okay, so same as Explorer. Explorer, if you want to search, maybe there was an issue. Okay, I think I can see something here. Okay, yes, there is. All right, so this is what Explorer shows you. It shows you all emails, shows you what emails were sent, if there is any email that's because this is just typically all email. So it's nothing, it just showcases the emails between people. Like if maybe there's a specific emails that you're looking out for to maybe to check for a user, this is what the Explorer gives to you. So everything that we did today, the PIM and the rest of it, yeah, it showed everything here. Then you have URL clicks. So if maybe I clicked on some URLs, maybe I opened my email and I clicked on some URLs, it will show up here as well that I clicked on some URLs. Then top URLs. So if there are top URLs that delivers message, you will see them, or any message was blocked by these URLs too, you will see them as well. Then top clicks too. So for top clicks, it shows you if there's some specific links. So you know all these things, the reason why you have all of these things is to detect when there is a phishing attack. Well, with the explanation I gave, you now understand what phishing is all about. So to detect when there's a phishing attack in the environment, just like there's an organization that we tried to, there was a phishing attack, the users clicked on a link, and when they clicked on a link, about 26 people actually clicked on the link. So if in that case, we were able to find out those top clicks, so we were able to see those links that were clicked here. So that's how we're able to know the particular URL that the users were clicking in without going to meet the users that, okay, what are the URLs you clicked? Then you have top targeted users. So if there are users that are targeted, it showcases all of them here. So if there is an attempt, so maybe someone trying to sign into an account multiple times, if there was an attempt here, this will show you every single thing, every single user that was attempted to, every single user that there was an attempt on. Then with email origin, you can see where the email is originated from. So you see that you have the tool that can make life easy for you. You don't have to manually start searching. I'm looking for what you will not find. It showcases every single thing about what the emails users are receiving, top clicks, so that if there's any form of phishing attack, you can go by yourself and check on it. So email origin showcases email origins, where it's originated from. Then campaigns. So if there are campaigns to maybe emails that include a specific campaigns that include a specific subset of messages, it will showcase it here. So that's what you get from all emails. Now, let's see, malware. I talked about malware. I talked about malware. So if there was any malware attack here, you would see everything here. Well, there is none. That's why everything looks blank. So same as phishing, if there was an email, you will see it here. Okay, so let me do something. There is this website I usually use if I just want to maybe send fake phishing emails, so that you can know whatever you configured if you're working. Let me share it. So let me use that website to send a phishing email, so we can see most of this thing acts. Let's at least, if we can do that for this time, I think, yeah. So I want to send a fake phishing attack. so that Microsoft will be able to capture it and at least to give us some logs. Okay. All right, so okay. All right, so I'm taking the tests. Yeah. So this will send me phishing emails. So this is more like a test. You can try it out from your end to send if you want to send spoofed envelope sender. So all of these things are fake. It's not real. It's just for you to well, you cannot use it in your organization. What this to say safe. Yes. So this is not to be used in your organization. It's just for test environment. If you want to try out phishing attack on your test environment so that you can be able to get logs. So this is one of the example. So checking my inbox. So this is, look at them. All right. Okay. So this is me opening them. So that we can get something. So this is showing PDFs. Just moving forward. This is for zip files. Okay, so I think we've gotten a lot. Testing. So you can see here we're testing. So let's just go back. I think we should be able to get a lot. If we don't see it today, we used to see it tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we'll not see any blocks yet. So with what we've done by tomorrow, I can use that to start the session so we can see what has been done or what comes up. Because right now it's not showing up yet. Okay, so moving forward, we have the review. So most of the times, users, there's some cases whereby users are sending spam emails. It happens. A lot of users will they'll tell them don't send spam emails in the organization. They'll tell you not to send bulk emails. So in most cases, when users do that, they get blocked. So under the restricted entities, this is where you see those users that send spam and also unblock them. So that's what happens in the restricted entities. Then you have the quarantine. So with quarantine, if emails are quarantined, you get to see them here and release them. Okay, so as you can see, remember what we just did now? Most of the emails were quarantined. So all I need to do is just go. Some of the emails did not even get to my email. That's because it was quarantined. It was caught by Microsoft and it was moved to quarantine. So trying to open the email. So for admins, once they have access to these, all they need to do is just to release the email to the user. So they can either delete from quarantine, allow the sender, submit for review. So once they submit for review, Microsoft will review it, and then they'll be able to let you know what the email is all about, whether it's something that is a malware or it's false positive. Then you can also preview the message. So as you can see, saying test dangerous, saying blah blah blah. So that's what the message is. So you can get the email. So this is how the email looks like. So it's to give you exactly what's everything, to give you the authentic email address, where the email is coming from, where it was sent to, subject, attachment to as well. So like I said, you can release the email, or you can send to Microsoft to improve detection for crosstalk. So you can just send a copy of this to other recipients, anyone's. So that's for quarantine. And you also have files that can be quarantined. So if maybe there are some files that attachments that do not get to the user, maybe based on their found to be malicious, they also fall into the quarantine level as well. Then we have Action Center. So with Action Center, what you're doing is and it's going to be another page. All right. So if there are pending actions, maybe based on, I don't know, they're not pending actions here. If there are pending actions based on some emails, maybe there are some emails that need approval, that needs to be investigated, they all fall into the Action Center. So we now have campaigns. So just like how I used the tool that I used to try to send phishing campaigns, you can also do that using campaigns. Or no, sorry, you can do that using attack simulation training. Well, these campaigns are maybe all those campaigns that fall into your inboxes and you want to see what those campaigns are all about and where they originated from. You can find that here. So you can see they were blocked. I don't know why it's not showing this. Okay. Blocked. Okay. Well, I think it's not showing up anything here. So you have threat tracker as well. Then you have exchange message trace. So the message trace is for tracing any form of emails. So let's put an instance. Well, surprisingly, this is supposed to be under Exchange, but I can see it's coming over to Defender. So let's say, for example, I want to trace, and someone came to organize, and someone came to me as an IT admin and said, "Oh, someone sent me an email, I can't find it." And you're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure the email got to you?" And the person, "Yes, I'm very sure the email got to me." You have to just tell them, "Okay, no, don't worry. I'm going to trace the email." So you get the sender address. Let's just use an example. I'm going to just use this example so that you understand better. So start date, okay, let's leave it at what it is. And I will search. So if you're looking for specific message trace ID, so if you have maybe a message ID that you want to trace, you can specify it here. Then if you have the original client's IP address, you can also specify it here. then it's according to how you want the report to be like. So for me, I just want a summary, but there is enhanced summary reports whereby this one is downloadable. That means you want to see a real detailed summary, and you have the extended report summary. So I'm just going to go with the summary report and search. So what I'm searching for now is if there was any email sent from this to all recipients, and I can see that there is none. Let me go as far back as this. So like you can see here, I went as far back as April, and you can see this is disconnected. That's because if you want to query summary reports, it has to be 90 days. Sorry, 30 days, I mean. So let's start with 29th. What happened? Yeah, so for short-term summary reports, it has to be 7 days. All right, so there's nothing here. So if there was anything here, it shows the email, what was in the email. It gives you like a breakdown on what the email was all about. Let me just hurriedly send in an email so it shows up. I have just 6 minutes. Okay, so I don't waste much time here. So for message trace, that's what it does. It gives you a summary of what if maybe the email was delivered or not, because in some cases the user will just come and tell you, oh, the email blah blah blah, I sent this email to this person and blah blah blah, and later you find out that the email was not even delivered to the person, so you just have to meet the sender. So that's what message trace does for you. It's trace the messages for you. Then you have the attack simulation training. So with the attack simulation training, your training, you want to send attack simulation trainings to your users. So you're sending phishing, maybe like test phishing campaigns. Remember, I told you that there was a phishing campaign in my organization like 4 to 5 years back, whereby people, they were sending emails that for you to get your salary, if you want salary increase, sorry, you have to click on this link to fill the form. So it was through this attack simulation training, whereby you're sending simulation trainings to your users so that you can tell them or make them aware of phishing techniques. So we have different techniques. We have the credential harvest, which I told you, I gave you gist about someone sending a URL in a message and telling you to click on it. Then you have malware attachment, you have link in attachment, you have link in malware, you have different types of techniques that you can actually use. The most used one is credential harvesting, whereby users will sign in with their username and password. I mean, why? Without even checking if it's authentic. And the good part of this simulation training is that after the user clicks on it, it sends them a notification on more like a video notification of training, telling you that it's just give you a training, or it will send the users trainings so that next time if they get such, this is what you need to do. So policies and rules, I think for next week, there will be no presentation. It's just going to be mostly demos on security. So I'll run through how to create the anti-phishing policies, anti-spam policy, anti-malware, safe links, and etc. So I think I'll just drop the mic here, and I'll hand over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vivian. Please let us appreciate Vivian for coming to deliver this insightful and impactful session on introduction to security and compliance. Thank you very much, Vivian, for sharing with us from your wealth of knowledge. Yes, we'll be going through the Q&A session now, and I'll check I'll have one person's hands raised, right? I will enable mic for this person, and then I would while we are attending to that person, we'll be checking through the chat area for some questions. And I have okay, I had somebody's hand raised, but it's no longer raised. I think I don't know why. But if you have any questions, you can raise your hands or either drop them in the chat area. So let me just check the chat for some questions that I saw there. Somebody had asked the question that is it any app SaaS you can install to assign people to manage, or just Microsoft Suite applications? So that's one question from Mayowa. I think that was when you were talking about applications, right? So Mayowa is asking if it's only Microsoft 365, Microsoft Suite of applications that can be assigned to users, or any other external or third-party applications.
So you can connect SaaS applications to your we call it enterprise application on your Microsoft Entra. So if you have other SaaS application, an example of a SaaS application can be maybe you want to utilize what's the popular one that used to join meetings? Aisha, please remind me, this popular one that people like joining meetings, this AI tool that
Zoom?
people join. No, there's this AI tool that people join meetings
with. Note taker, right?
Yeah, note taker.
Alter, right?
Yeah, Alter, all this, yes. So that's an example. There are other SaaS applications too as well. So if you want to integrate that SaaS application into your Microsoft environment, that means you have to integrate it as an enterprise application. And once you integrate it, your users you can assign those applications to your users, whereby you can even integrate single or configure single sign-on, whereby users can actually sign into those things and they can have access to it. So that means if maybe you want it to be integrated in your Teams meeting, you can assign it to users and tell them that, okay, when they join into meetings, I'm talking about the policy, when they join into meetings, the application would join into the meeting with them too as well. So I don't know if I answered your question, Maiwa. If not, please explain for that.
All right, thank you very much.
Should I read the questions? Should I be reading the questions?
Oh, okay. That's fine. I don't know if you noticed any other question. Somebody said, why can't it be tested on a working environment? I don't know what this person was talking about. I think probably
maybe
talking about the logs or something.
Yes, no, I think they were talking about because there's this tool I was using for tester, that's email security tester, whereby I was using it to send malicious link. Yes. So the reason why you cannot use it, of course, no one should know the strength of the defense. Okay. So the reason why I do not advise in working environments is because if you use in working environments, I mean your IT admin, because it's clearly stated, like, I don't know if you saw my screen, you clearly see that it showcases that it's from email test security tester. And I think it should be part of, when we talked about rules in organization, it should be part of a rule that you cannot use a third party to test email security strengths in your organization. So that's it's very, very important. So every organization have rules. So if you want to test to see if maybe the organization the policies are strong enough to well, that's fine, because these are just fake threats. So in as much as it will capture it as real threats, but it would let you know that this is how strong your email security is. And yes, so if there are other things you need to put in place, yes, that's it. It's not real-time logs, yes, log, yeah. It's not, but it will still show everything though, but to still show that this is from email security. So I think maybe various organizations use it for, but what I mean you shouldn't use it for your organization is as a user, you shouldn't use it. But as an IT admin, of course, you can use it to test email security in your environment. Yes. So another question is, there's an attack simulator training with this payloads in Microsoft 365 already. Oh, okay. Yes. Adikula answered that question. Yes. Yeah, so on Microsoft 365 based on section, you demonstrated. Okay. Okay. Okay, the security dashboard where I showed SaaS applications. Yeah, so if you have SaaS application to showcase all those, so it's not just Microsoft 365 apps, it will showcase other SaaS applications that you implement. So a similar feature to this message trace regarding emails was mentioned in one of the previous sessions. Okay. Auto, thanks, fine. Oh, okay, I think that's
all
it.
right. Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Vivian.
I think
Thank you
someone
for
is
coming.
asking, how do we get the link to that security tester?
Yes, yes.
So should I
Okay.
share
Do you want to share the
Aishat's?
link?
Of course, it's free.
Yes,
So
you can
I
share it in the
mean,
chat.
okay.
All right, that's it. That's the link there. Please, I've dropped the attendance link. Please do well to sign in to clock your attendance for today. And I think with that we have come to the yes. Definitely saying that you should include disclaimer, right? Yes, that actually said that it's not a recommended practice to use this in a production environment. So just be careful how you use it. And Vivian, please include a disclaimer as to how this link should be used. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thank you to all our mentees that joined the session today. Thank you to Vivian for coming to deliver this very impactful session. We will look forward to seeing you tomorrow again so we can continue from where we have stopped today. So, right. On this note, I want to say to everyone, please enjoy a very wonderful evening and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm going to stop the recording right now, okay? So, all right, Adekunle.